with Cassidy Hubbard afterwards. Here's Book.
Devin, an efficient 92 points over your last 2 games. It's also your 32nd 40-point game. That's the most in Suns history. But just to go back to the last 2 games, how do you describe just the ease that you have right now offensively?
I mean, it just starts with stops. You know, I think when we're guarding at a high level, the ball's hopping around, it's easy to find rhythm. So, you know, we've been doing a good job of that the past 2 games, some important games, and from here on out, every game matters.
And you and Kevin Durant, second game this season that you guys have scored at least 30 points. You combined for 72 tonight. Where is just the confidence level you two have attacking alongside each other?
I mean, that's my favorite player, you know, so iron sharpens iron, and, you know, to be alongside him every game, and obviously he causes a lot of attention that opens up a lot of great looks for everybody on the team. But we're building. You know, like I said, this is a tough stretch of the year and an important stretch at the same time. So, you know, we're in good shape.
Building and climbing. With the win, you move into 6th place in the West outside of the play-in game. You told me this morning that this team is ready. How playoff ready do you feel like this group is right now as you attack the hardest remaining schedule of the NBA?
I mean, I say credit to the NBA. They did their thing with the play-in tournament. These games are playoff games, so, you know, we're trying to get these wins and stay in the top 6, you know, to have to avoid those single elimination games. So we're ready to go, though. Energy's high.
Congrats on the win, Devin. Thank you for your time.
As Cassidy mentioned, Phoenix entered the evening 8th in the West, now 6th. That's just how fluid things are in the absolutely loaded West. That's bananas, man. Sacramento falls to 8th on an off night, just a half game back of the coveted 6, which means you avoid the play-in tournament. Tim Legler with us here in D.C. Phoenix looked dominant on Wednesday. You have enjoyed what they've shown in terms of what their ceiling can be, but you had concerns about the level of consistency. What stands out about the approach in this particular game?
A couple weeks ago, I went in on them, and they deserved it. With the egg they laid against the Bucks, the way they played against the Spurs without Wemby, they deserved it. And I think they have been better. And there's a style of play, Scott, that they get to that makes you think, okay, this is what it needs to be. And if they can stay like this, you've got a real chance in the West. And that was great sound, by the way, to lead to this touchscreen.
Okay.
Because Devin Booker talks about 2 things. He talked about the ball hopping, and he talked about Kevin Durant drawing attention, and that's exactly what we're going to focus on right here. So let's just get right to it. This is impressive, Scott, because there's 14 seconds on the shot clock. Kevin Durant's taking the ball out of bounds on the side. So in 14 seconds, they're going to make 7 passes on this possession out of the half court that's going to lead to something great. So that's the ball hopping component of it. And this is just basic flex basketball. When the ball gets reversed, you get a back screen, a dive, followed by a down screen. Like everybody in the league runs some version of this when the ball gets reversed. That's the action they run initially. But that's not what they're really trying to get out of this. They're going to keep it moving around the perimeter. Comes back over here. Now, this is the thing that I want to see Kevin Durant do more. And when he does this, they're very difficult to defend. I don't think Kevin Durant sets enough ball screens. When he sets ball screens and he's involved in the action and this ball handler comes off, the way that he's going to make these 2 defenders react to that and what's open in the middle of the floor as a result is this. And now he catches it, and you can take a look. You can see my man Eubanks on here. He wants a lob. He's got his hand up. You can go there if you want. You can go out here if you want to. That defender came all the way down to your lap. Or you could go over here to the wing. He's got everything at his disposal, created 3 passing windows just because of his ability to set a screen, dive to the middle, and catch the basketball. That's the kind of reaction you get defensively for Kevin Durant. Here he makes the right read, and this is the last component of this. These guys are critical. Royce O'Neal's of the world, the Eric Gordons of the world, Grayson Allen when he plays who wasn't there. If they're making their share of corner threes after ball movement, the Phoenix Suns are legitimately a threat in the Western Conference to be that last team standing against Denver, because that's how I use everybody. They describe them relative to Denver. I think they're going to be there in the end. Who will be that team? The Suns have a chance when they play like this offensively. I thought the first half tonight was as good as they can play offensively.
We don't have commandments on this show, but if we did, 2 of them would be don't overreact and provide context.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
No Dame Lillard for Milwaukee, okay? That explains some of it, But you
Back at the Footprint Center tonight, starting their final homestand of the regular season.
And it was a good one. Coming into the evening, there were only 7 games left to play, 4 of them on their home floor, starting with the Cleveland Cavaliers, making a stop in downtown Phoenix. Mark McClune, also downtown Phoenix at the Footprint Center. Another strong showing from the Suns, and we need this.
Yeah, certainly with the ups and the downs of this season. You know, this time last week, the Suns' prospects of not being in the NBA's play-in tournament certainly looked pretty bleak right there as a team that just could not find any continuity on the floor, and it looked like they were headed to the play-in, and that was going to make their road to the NBA playoffs just that much more difficult here in about 13 days. The first round of the NBA playoffs starting after the play-in tournament. But this is a team that is now one of the hottest in the NBA. Putting up back-to-back 70-point first halves. Second game in a row they've done that, and the Big Three seems to have found a new configuration. That's because Frank Vogel told us pregame something new was on the horizon tonight that we had never seen really at home for the Suns before. We'd seen it on the road in New Orleans. Bradley Beal running point guard. Hasn't been taking as many shots lately. Something head coach Frank Vogel said before the game was by design. Tonight was much of the same. He put up just 9 shots in the field, served as a good distributor with 7 assists as the Suns had 32 out of 44 shots overall, really moving the basketball around. This could be a successful new formula for the Suns as they close out the regular season and start looking forward to the postseason here. So meanwhile, the other 2 legs of the tripod benefited from Beal's new role. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker combining for 72 points, each putting up 20-plus shot attempts. A lot of thought that maybe Booker was trying to do too much as the point guard, and this just lets Book be Book. Booker leading the way with a game-high 40, his second straight 40-burger. Of course, he had a 50-point game earlier this week in New Orleans, and he was 9 for 9 from the free throw line. So let's take a live look at the Western Conference standings. Here's what it looks like currently for the Suns, with the Pelicans losing to the Magic tonight. The Kings and the Mavericks were both off tonight. The Suns take over that 6th playoff spot, which would keep them out of the play-in tournament. If they can stay there, it's still a logjam atop the conference with the T-Wolves, who are here on Friday. The Nuggets and Thunder trading first place on a nightly basis. Minnesota claiming it tonight after a win over Toronto. And, of course, they come in here on Friday nights. That's going to be a real test. The next game for the Phoenix Suns, the Minnesota Timberwolves, here on Friday night. Another 7 o'clock tip-off right here on Arizona's Family. You can watch it on 3TV, AZ Family Sports, and the Pelicans again on Sunday. Guys, I don't know if the Suns are a title contender from everything that we've seen this season, but certainly tonight you think they might have found something, and looking forward to getting inside that locker room, hearing from Bradley Beal, hearing from Devin Booker and Kevin Durant about how exactly this felt with Bradley Beal really taking a lesser role scoring-wise, but facilitating, and the Suns certainly have some freedom here on offense. And Devin Booker really looking like Devin Booker for one of the first times this year. I guess he did in New Orleans with a 50 the other night, but just looking free and not having to facilitate the offense as much.
And Mark Bol with some playing time as well.
Yeah, your guy. You know, and I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is the development of Bol by this coaching staff. I mean, he was a guy who came in and looked very timid his first couple games. He's out there bringing the ball up the floor, shooting threes at will, and really being encouraged. And the Suns coaching staff has built him into a weapon off the bench.
Mark, why do you think this reconfiguration happened so late in the season? I mean, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Right. I mean, maybe injuries had a lot to do with it when the Big Three could finally get on the floor. And you know, as they grow, I think there's just different conversations that happen. And Frank Vogel was talking about that today when they were looking at the video the past week. They're like, well, this works, and this works, and this works. And I think Devin Booker really wanted to be that guy who facilitates. I mean, there's something heroic about being the teammate that sacrifices for others. But at this point, just let Book cook. I mean, if he's gonna put up 40 like this, I think you just got to let
For your precious love, the stars fell out. Love longing for our union then. Love my fragrance so captivating. You close to me, I lose myself. Never thought I would find love like this. Never thought I would be waiting. Move your body, let your spirit soar. Ella, your atom, move your body. All of my